Is it ever the case that the person closest to you is a traitor? It doesn't happen. It can't be. It shouldn't. Marina stared out the window, tears streaming down her tires. It had been 6 months since her mother had brought her to this institution. Marina was 7 years old, and she childishly naively waited for her mom, who promised to pick her up in a couple of days. But time passed, and her mom didn't come. Maybe something happened to her, that's why she doesn't come. The girl looked for excuses. Girls who lived with Marina in the same room immediately said that mom will not come again, because this is an orphanage and here for a couple of days do not bring. But Marina believed, waited and believed. She waited, and after a year, and after 3, until the last day she waited until she left the walls of the orphanage. Marina hoped that her mother would come back for her, and only when she graduated from the orphanage, learned that she was in another city, 150 kilometers from the one in which she lived. Now it all became clear to her. Her mother was not going to come back for her. She just abandoned her. And that realization made it hurt. Only one question worried the girl. Why? She had been quiet, calm and obedient. So why had her mom left her in a strange place? What could have gotten in the way of a little girl? They had their own apartment. Mom worked and made a normal income. They always had enough for everything. So why? Marina really wanted to find her mother and ask her this question, and then decided to do otherwise. First get an education, find a good job and come to her mother in the image of successful and educated, so that she would feel ashamed and hurt, as it was painful for the little girl who was betrayed by the closest person. Marina graduated from high school with a gold medal and by direction entered one of the best universities in the city. She dreamed of becoming a designer and made every effort to get a good education. Upon graduation, Marina was invited to one of the famous design bureaux, in which the girl twice passed the practice and life flowed in a completely different direction. Marina had interesting projects, which she quite successfully realized. She lived in her apartment, received from the state, and even made her own repairs on her own project. Friends she did not have much. She got close to one girl at work, Julia, but it was more like a buddy than a friend. But there was still in Marina's life a close person, Vyacheslav. Their acquaintance took place in the orphanage. Marina was then 11 and Slava 13. He came to the orphanage at an age when it is most difficult to get used to alien surroundings. One day the older boys surrounded Slava, who kept apart and did not want to communicate with anyone. Marina saw this picture and came to the aid of a strange boy. "Why are you and Peter on one? What did he do to you?" Formidable bravely declared the girl. "Well, get out of here, minnows," immediately reacted elders. But Marina was not frightened and calmly replied, "Do not move away from him. I'll call Igor Mikhailovich." The boys turned around and ran away. Igor Mikhailovich was a gym teacher in the orphanage, strict and fair. He never allowed to offend the younger. And everyone knew it. That's why they were so frightened. Marina's words. Marina walked up to Slava. "Hey, are you okay? They didn't hurt you?" The girl asked caringly. "No, thanks to myself." He held out his hand to Marina. "My name is Slava. And I'm Marina. You're new here, aren't you?" "Yes, a week. I don't want to stay here. My grandmother will take me away soon." "Are you sure?" Marina asked incredulously, knowing that promises from adults were not always kept. "Yes, I live with my grandmother. It's just that she went into the hospital and I was assigned here. As soon as she gets better, she picked me up right away." "Oh, good," the girl said with a note of envy. "My mother promised me she'd take me too, but I've been waiting for years and she hasn't come. Maybe something happened to her and she couldn't." In a maturely judicious way, Slava remarked, "I don't know. Let it be better that way than she would have just left me." Marina sighed. "I'll be sure to find her when I grow up and ask her. I don't even remember my mom. She and my dad were killed in a car accident when I was 2. My grandmother took me in. We have no one else. It's a shame, of course. I never had a dad. My mom and I lived alone. Then Uncle Dima came along, and my mom spent all her time with him. But I was not offended by her. Let her even 100 times, she would not pay attention to me. Only if I lived at home." Marina had tears in her eyes. "I cannot hear. I'm sick. And let's stick together," suddenly suggested Slava. "The two of us will be more fun." "Come on," happily agreed Marina. And from that day on, they were really always together, except when they were studying and sleeping. Slava learned to protect both himself and his girlfriend because many envied their friendship and tried to quarrel in every possible way. But the guys defended their relationship, although sometimes it was difficult. Slava fought with boys because of Marina, Marina fought with girls, but eventually they were left alone. Igor Mikhailovich intervened. The difficulties began when Slava entered the institute and left the walls of the orphanage. His grandmother never came back for him because she died in the hospital. The teenager experienced this event very hard, and if it had not been for Marina, it is not known how he would have coped with such a situation at all. Those 2 years that Marina spent in the orphanage without Slava were probably the most difficult. She did not want to communicate with anyone, withdrew into herself and looked forward to when he would come to visit her. Slava was allowed to visit Marina only on weekends, so the girl lived from Saturday to Saturday. By happy coincidence, Marina's apartment was in the next house from Slava's apartment, and they saw each other almost every day. At first Marina had a hard time adapting to the new independent life, and Slava helped and supported her friend. Then there was an institute, an interesting job, but Marina, despite being busy, always found time for her friend. She even took on the responsibility of cooking him food. Slava worked in a construction company, as he was an architect. It was so surprising that even in the choice of profession, the young people turned out to be close. Today is Marina's anniversary, 25 years. In the evening, she and Slava are going to her favorite restaurant. It's good that today is a day off. We can sleep and leisurely tidy up for dinner, thought Marina, lying on the bed. She had a very good mood, and although the girl didn't like her birthday very much, today was somehow especially happy. The phone rang. "Good afternoon, Marina Viktorovna," an unfamiliar female voice sounded in the receiver. "Hello," Marina answered calmly. She was not frightened by unfamiliar numbers, as she could get calls from clients whenever she wanted. "Aphrodite Cosmetic Salon congratulates you on your anniversary and invites you for treatments. We are delighted. We are giving you a 1-month subscription. You can use the services of our salon during this period completely free of charge, regardless of the chosen service." "Wow, what? Thank you so much. I didn't know you had such an option." Marina was very surprised. She had been a regular customer of this salon for 2 years, but had not heard anything like this. "This option is available only to our VIP clients, which you are. We are waiting for you at any time convenient for you." "Hey, that's a great gift. Can I come in today? I need a manicure and a haircut." After a little thought, she added, "And evening makeup." "Yeah, sure. What time would be convenient?" "Let's make it 3. "Great. We'll see you at 3 o'clock. Have a good day." What a gift. The day is off to a great start, thought a happy Marina. And then came the calls with congratulations from colleagues. Marina could not get to the bathroom to wash up and take a shower. The phone did not stop ringing. Yulia called and also congratulated her on her birthday. Marina was pleasantly surprised by such attention. The last drop that overflowed the cup of surprise was a call from the general. "Marinoshka Viktorovna, I heartily congratulate you on your anniversary. I wish you health, inexhaustible energy, creative successes, creative solutions, and great female happiness. Since you are one of the best employees of our office, the management in my person decided to encourage you for excellent work, timing the encouragement to your holiday and award a trip to the sea for 1 week. The voucher is for 2 persons, so you may take someone with whom you would not like to part with for so long," said the director enigmatically. "Ivan Sergeyevich, thank you very much. I simply have no words, but I have a vacation only in 3 months." "Oh, come on, it's trifles. I'll let you make out a week of your vacation now. Your flight leaves in 3 days. You'll have time to register and pack. Have a nice evening." Marina thanked the general once again and disconnected. What a holiday. I have never had such a birthday. Marina had already gone into the bathroom when suddenly the doorbell rang. If there's any more surprise, I'll faint from happiness. She smiled, splashed her robe and went to open the door. On the threshold stood the delivery man with a huge bouquet of roses. "Marina Solomatina?" he asked politely. "Yes, that's me." "You flowers, sign, please." Marina signed in the extended sheet and took the bouquet. 25 delicate cream roses exuded a subtle, pleasant fragrance. In the center of the bouquet was a small card. Marina took it out and read it. Marishka, my dear little man, happy holiday to you. Tonight. Well, of course, who else could send me flowers? Only Slavka, said Marina with a smile. She put the roses in a vase and went to the bathroom. After taking a shower and drinking coffee, Marina decided to pick out an outfit for the evening. She moved one rack after another, but she didn't like any of it. And the orphanage had 2 dresses and 1 skirt for the whole year. Marina smiled. It was easier to choose. So, it is necessary to buy something interesting, since today is such an unusual birthday turns out. Marina got dressed, called a cab and went shopping. Then visited the salon, did her manicure, hair and makeup. It remained to change clothes, and it was possible to go to celebrate. They agreed with Vyacheslav to meet at the restaurant. Marina knew her childhood friend well and realized that Slovak was probably preparing a surprise for her. But Marina could not even imagine what kind of surprise, despite her creative imagination. She also went to the restaurant by cab. She couldn't drive, and she didn't have her own car yet. On the approach to the restaurant, Marina saw a black limousine. Probably, someone also has today a festive event. I would not refuse to ride on such, dreamily thought Marina. She paid the cab driver and walked confidently into the restaurant. All the tables were lined with flowers. Under the ceiling of the restaurant were balloons of different colors. All of them were written "Happy Birthday." Marina looked at this beauty with envy. Once in her childhood she also dreamed of such a holiday. Oh, lucky today someone, such a large-scale celebration organized, should have chosen another restaurant, or it is inconvenient somehow to disturb people. She did not finish her thought, because it is unclear where Slava appeared in a dark blue suit with a huge bouquet in his hands. My dear Marishka, he began solemnly and loudly. Hush, why so loud? Marina tried to calm her friend. I congratulate you on your birthday. Ignoring the remark, continued Slava. I want to wish you real female happiness, great love, wealth and fulfillment of the most cherished wishes. One of them I have already fulfilled. It's all for you. He spread his hands apart, showing that the restaurant belonged to Marina today. I remember your childhood dream of balloons, and here it is. It came true. I'm sorry I couldn't do it before, financially, but now I can do a lot of things. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Marina could not cope with emotions. Slavka, did you do it for me? Choking on tears, asked Marina. Well, of course, for you. You're my most dear person on this earth. Thank you, my good man. This is the best gift ever. Marina hugged Slava and kissed Shilka unexpectedly. No, it's not a present yet. It's just a decoration for the hall. Let's sit down for now. The gift will be a little later. There will be a present too. Marina was surprised. I am already happy immensely. The waiter came and poured champagne into glasses. Here's to you, dear birthday girl. To you, my Slavka. You are a true friend. As they drank the champagne and sat down at the table, Slava waved discreetly somewhere to the side, and a waiter came up to the nose. He had a medium-sized box in his hands, wrapped in a festive package with a bow. Slava took the box and held it out to Marina. This is your present. Open it, please. Now. Marina eagerly, like a child, began to unwrap the gift. The layer of paper was replaced by a new layer. The girl couldn't wait to get to the gift itself. At last, she saw the oblong box in which the gift is usually given. Chains or bracelets. She looked at Slava and smiled, then opened the box. There was a beautiful gold bracelet with a ring on it. Marina looked at Slava in surprise. It didn't look like a set. The girl wanted to ask something, but Slava worked ahead of her. Marishka, my dear, there is no one closer and more dear to me than you. You are the best person in the world. I love you. Marry me. It was good that Marina continued to sit up. Otherwise, she would have surely fallen down from surprise. Slavashka, do you really want to? I really do. Do you? Me too. Does that mean yes? Yes. Yay? She said yes, shouted Slava to the entire restaurant, and immediately there was a round of applause from the restaurant staff. Slovak picked Marina up in his arms and spun around the room, turned on the music, and the guys began to dance. Marina was happy. She always loved Slava, and if before it seemed to her that it was a sisterly love, then every year she realized that she was wrong, but tell him about it she was afraid. Slava did not show those signs of attention that usually show guys to girls. That's why Marina was sure that they were just friends and did not want to spoil everything with his confession. The paradox was that Slava thought exactly the same. It seemed to him that Marina treated him solely as a friend and, afraid to lose at least this friendly closeness, he hid his feelings. That was what they were talking about now, sitting at the table and laughing loudly in their indecision and stupidity. "How much time we have lost," Slava suddenly stated. "Yes, and all because we need to talk," Marina smiled. "Let's never hide anything from each other again. Come on." After dinner, when the couple left the restaurant, the same black limousine pulled up to the entrance. "Are we going to ride in it? Did you order this?" For the umpteenth time that day, Marina was surprised. "Of course I did." Slava hugged his beloved by the waist and led her to the car. They drove around the city for about 2 hours and then went to Marina's place. Ahead of them awaited the first and most real night of love, which everyone secretly dreamed of a long time ago. 3 days later, the guys flew to the sea. All week they walked and enjoyed each other. It seemed as if they had just met each other. The week flew by unnoticed, and after returning home the next day, they filed a statement in the registry office. The wedding was scheduled for the day of their first meeting in the orphanage, September 9th, and the date turned out beautiful and memorable. 0999. Marina was happy, probably for the first time in her life so truly and in a womanly way. She was preparing for this important event in her life. Guests they had very few. Someone from Marina's work, Slava, Marina's neighbor with her husband Igor Mikhailovich, the only person from the orphanage, with whom the guys maintained relations until now. The wedding was celebrated in their favorite restaurant. Although the event was not numerous, it was fun and heartwarming. After the wedding, Marina moved to Slava. Wedding trip. The newlyweds decided not to go yet, but to postpone the trip for next year. Family life was calm, without quarrels and scandals, with full mutual understanding. Sometimes Marina thought that this does not happen, that everything is somehow too good. They did not even quarrel because of what? So well they knew each other. So a year passed. All this time, they were renting out Marina's apartment and saving money from their salaries. They had a dream to open their own design bureau, developing projects from scratch. And they took a risk. Vyacheslav was engaged in calculations and projects of houses, from the foundation to the roof, and Marina developed design projects for the arrangement inside the house. The first time was difficult, the lack of clients frightened, but the guys patiently waited for their hour. And waited. They were approached by a very famous person with a request to remodel his parents' dacha. It needed restoration and overhaul. The guys began work, and a week later their project was approved. And suddenly the glory struck. "Listen, Marishka, we can realize our own projects. We need to find a construction team that will cooperate with us and go ahead. What do you think?" "Great idea, let's try it." While they were looking for qualified builders, word of mouth was already spreading around the city about the young talented guys who work in the bureau design of the future. Vyacheslav managed to find two teams of builders universalists ready for permanent cooperation. And the business started. The guys developed projects and brought them to life themselves. For 6 years their bureau grew into a good construction company, its own bureau of architects and designers. The guys were happy. The only thing that saddened Marina recently, that she could not get pregnant. Slava consoled his wife and said that they still have everything ahead of them. Age allows you to spend a couple more years to develop the business, and then she will be able to step away from the business and take up the birth and upbringing of children. Marina agreed with her husband, but she really wanted the baby in their family appeared sooner. She was even examined to make sure that everything was all right with her. The doctor calmed her down and said that she could have children and that she just had to wait. Another year passed, but the situation didn't change, and Marina began to worrying seriously and persuaded Slava to undergo a checkup as well. "Slava, please, for my sake and my peace of mind, take the tests." "Marishka, well, it's all nonsense. We can have children, we can. It's just not time yet." "It's hard for you," she took offense at her husband. "It is not difficult for me. I just do not understand why so aggravate the situation. The doctor told you that everything has its time." "She told me, not you. You haven't been tested." "Okay, let's go to your doctor on Wednesday and take everything you want." Marina walked over to her husband and put her arm around his shoulders. "Thank you. It's really important to me." Okay, it's decided. You better tell me this. Where are we going to celebrate your birthday? I don't know. I don't really feel like it, to be honest. What do you mean? Slava was surprised. Why don't we just go somewhere for at least a couple days? We'll rest, get a change of scenery. I think I'm tired. That's not surprising. We've been working hard lately, Slava agreed. I'm tired too, to be honest. Let's celebrate your birthday and go to Karelia for a week. We've wanted to go there for a long time. How would you like that? With pleasure, immediately agreed Marina. Before the birthday was a few days, but neither Marina nor Slava did not even imagine what would happen on the eve of the holiday. After work, Marina had to go to the salon, pick up the dress, which she had previously selected and ordered from the catalogue. Slava persuaded Marina to invite the team to the restaurant and a little to relax and have a rest, especially since the occasion was a birthday. Marina was very much loved in the company. She was good-natured, attentive and fair. That's why the company called her our Marinoshka. Marina walked into Slava's office. Will you be much longer? I need to have time to pick up my dress. Sonny, 5 minutes and we'll be out. I remember about the dress. Okay, then I'll wait for you by the car, okay. Marina went down to the parking lot. She was in a very good mood. Slava's tests were fine and he could have children too. They had even been tested for compatibility. It was very high. We just need to wait a little longer, Marina reassured herself. She looked around and waited patiently for her husband. About 15 minutes had already passed, and he was still not there. Slava had such a problem. He did not know how to plan and manage time, and often delayed, not by much, but by 5 to 10 minutes consistently. When he scheduled business meetings, he wrote down the time in his organizer half an hour earlier, so that he wouldn't be late. Will you ever learn to be on time? Smiled Marina, noticing the approaching spouse. This is my shortcoming. I cannot help it. I hope it is not critical. You're not going to leave me because of this. He joked, hugged and kissed his wife. Nonsense. Why should I leave you? Well, let's go, or we'll really be late for your salon. In the salon they were in time. Marina tried on the dress and was very pleased. The chosen model perfectly emphasized all the advantages of her figure. And although she had recently gained a few extra pounds, the well-chosen style of the dress perfectly hid it. Happy, she got into the car and put the bag with the dress on the back seats. Listen, let's have dinner somewhere, Slava suggested. Come on. I don't feel like cooking tonight, Marina agreed. You read my mind. Where shall we go? Let's go to an Italian pizzeria. I want pizza. Yes, easily, immediately agreed Slava and drove away from the store. On the way, they discussed the future trip, where they would like to visit. Slava had once been in Karelia and a little oriented in the local sites. Marina, on the other hand, only dreamed of visiting this magnificent region of Russia for the time being. You can't imagine how beautiful it is there, Slava said. You'll like it very much. I've been urging you to go for a long time, but you refused. I refused because I had a lot of work, you know. But now we can afford this trip, both in terms of time and finances. Oh, I can't wait for this trip. It's going to be a lot. He didn't finish. A bright light and a heavy blow interrupted his words. Slava didn't even realize what had happened. He opened his eyes. Around the hospital wall, nearby on the bed lay a man of about 45 years old with a plastered leg. Excuse me, where are we? He barely audibly said. Oh, he's awake, smiled the neighbor in the ward. In the hospital, my brother, in the hospital. And my wife. I don't know anything about my wife. You just don't be nervous. The doctor will tell you everything now. He reached out and pressed the button to call the staff. Literally in a minute, a nurse ran into the room. When she saw that Slava had regained consciousness, she ran out of the room shouting, "He's awake. Call Dmitry Anatolievich." After a couple more minutes, a doctor entered the room and leaned over to Slava. Do you remember your name? He asked loudly. Of course, Vyacheslav. And don't shout like that, please. I have a terrible headache. Do you remember your last name? Doctor, I'm not an idiot. I remember, of course. Igorov is my last name. Tell me, where's my wife? What's wrong with her? What happened to her? I don't remember. You see, you say you remember everything. You were in a car accident. Your wife is in the next room. She's alive, don't worry. Slava breathed a sigh of relief, but he didn't like the doctor's look. She's alive, but what's wrong with her? Her injuries are more serious than yours. The impact was on her side. Can you elaborate? Will she live? She will, don't worry about it. It'll just take a long time to heal. But thank God, it's all right then. You get better. I won't let you get up today. But tomorrow you can visit your wife. Wait, what's the date today? April 20th. It's her birthday today. Doctor, please let me see her for just a moment. The doctor lowered his eyes and turned away. Is something wrong? She's unconscious for now. There's no point in your visit. I'm sorry. No, there is. You don't understand. She needs me now more than ever. She hear my voice and wake up. We've been together since the orphanage. We have no one else but each other. Please, let me. Glory was almost crying from hopelessness. The heart of the nurse, who was standing next to the doctor, could not stand it. Dmitry Anatolievich, can I take him in a wheelchair? I promise, no more than 5 minutes I'll supervise. Suddenly she really will hear him and wake up. All right? What are you animals making of me? But only for 5 minutes, the doctor said sternly and walked out. Glory looked at the nurse gratefully. Thank you so much for your support. You're welcome. Lucky your spouse and her husband. Not everyone would be so torn. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I've seen a lot in my years here. I love her very much. I can see that, the nurse smiled. You rest for now, I'll be back for you in half an hour. I'll be waiting. Slava looked at his neighbor and then out the window and thought, it's ironic. My parents died in an accident, and I was in an accident, but at least I'm alive, and most importantly, Marishka is alive. When the nurse came, Slava was already sitting on the edge of the bed. How quick you are. She was surprised. And you, by the way, you have a concussion. Not bad, but I do. And a knee injury. Only after these words Slava paid attention to his leg. It was tightly bandaged. Must be a lot of painkillers in the hotel, since I can't feel it at all, he thought, and his hearing said, yeah, let's get to Marina's already. He moved into the wheelchair and they drove out of the ward. Marina's room was one door down from his. The nurse opened the door and rolled the stroller into the room. There was no one there except Marina. They drove closer, and Slava could see his wife. A huge hematoma on her cheek and shoulder, her arm in a cast, tubes sticking out of her mouth. The picture is gruesome, especially when looking at a loved one. Tell me, Moshe, what's wrong with her? He'd already read the nurse's name on the nama tag. What you're seeing is nothing. It'll heal in a couple weeks. Your wife has an injury of the spine. Now the doctors are taking pictures of what to do. And most importantly, she needs to come to her senses. That's the most important thing right now. This made Slava feel bad. How could it be a spinal injury? Why didn't the doctor say anything about it? And what does all this mean? Is Marina an invalid now, or what? Tell me, can she be helped or will she be an invalid now? Slava asked hopefully, but he clearly didn't hear what he wanted to hear. No one will answer this question for you yet. Today she will do a second MRI, our chief neurosurgeon will come, we called him from vacation. He will finally diagnose and deal with the treatment of your wife. But she probably needs several spinal surgeries, I can tell you that for sure. She paused for a moment and continued, you'll have to be patient. She take a long time to recover. I understand. Thank you for your candor. The important thing is that she's alive, and we can handle the rest. God willing, Maria said quietly. I'll leave you for 5 minutes, then I'll take you back. No moving around without me. Okay, thank you again. Maria went out, and Slava remained sitting in the chair near Marina and tried to understand what to do now and what would happen next. He took his spouse's hand and started talking to her. Marishka, my dear, happy birthday. Today is such a day. You must wake up, you must. I love you very much and I can't live without you. You know it very well. We will definitely cope with everything. The main thing is to wake up and tell me that you love me. Everything else is fixable. He stopped talking and looked up. I hope so. Suddenly it seemed to him that Marina squeezed his fingers. It was at that moment that Maria walked in. Moshe, she squeezed my hand, said Slava excitedly. Are you sure? Wondered the nurse. It might have seemed to you, because you want it very much. At that moment they both heard a quiet sound that Marina made. Maria quickly rushed out of the room. A minute later, there were already 3 doctors and 2 nurses in the room. Slava was taken back to his room and asked to wait patiently. It was the longest half-hour of his life. It seemed to Slava that his heart was pounding so loudly that it could be heard even in the corridor. Dmitry Anatolyevich came in. "You were right, Vyacheslav. Your presence worked." Marina came to her senses. The doctor saw that Slava wanted to ask something, but he raised his hand and stopped him. "Wait with the questions. Let me go first. Your wife has a serious spinal injury. In a couple of hours we will take her for an MRI. Our neurosurgeon will come, and we will decide what to do next. But I will tell you frankly, the situation is very difficult." The doctor was silent, and Slava tried to cope with the excitement to ask the main question. "Tell me only honestly, will she walk?" "I don't know. That's to be honest. Let's wait for the result of all the tests, then I'll tell you what to prepare for." He sat down on the edge of the bed and looked at Vyacheslav carefully. "Now you answer honestly. Do you love your wife? Are you willing to fight for her and with her?" "This is a very important point. I love my wife, and I will be with her no matter what verdict you give," Slava said confidently. "I believe you. Your spouse is lucky." Dmitry Anatolyevich patted Slava on the shoulder. "Hang in there, it won't be easy." The doctor left, and Slava was left alone with his thoughts. Difficulties had never frightened this young man, but now he was not afraid of them. He was afraid of losing the nearest and dearest person. This fear was gripping his whole body. It rolled on, and at one point it even seemed to Slava that he was suffocating. Never in his life he had never been so scared as now. Need to pull himself together. "I can't let Marishka see me like this. She figure me out right away. On the contrary, I need to pull myself together and show her that I believe in her. I believe that she will cope, because I will always be there for her. We need to calm down and wait for the neurosurgeon's report. Maybe it's not as bad as they say." But reality was scarier than Slavic fantasies. In the evening, Maria came into the room. The expression on her face was very tense. She stood near the door and looked at Slava. "Speak for God's sake. Don't be silent. It's worse," he asked. "I have bad news. Your wife has paralysis of her lower limbs. Her spinal cord is affected, and the nerve endings are pinched in 6 places. She need a very complicated operation, but no one will give you a guarantee." She stopped talking and lowered her head. "There's a good chance your wife will never walk again. Excuse me, if you were to be hit on the head with something heavy, aesthetically, the effect would be less than what you've just heard." Tears came out of Vyacheslav's eyes. He didn't even expect it. The last time he cried was in the orphanage, when he fought once again because of Marinka. But now it was so painful that he simply could not cry. Slava felt like a wounded animal, cornered. The next day, he was allowed to visit Marina. He tuned in and gathered his thoughts to somehow cheer up his wife, but nothing worked. Marina always read the mood of Slava in the eyes and facial expressions, and they clearly gave away his condition with his head. But he could not go to her. The nurse drove Slava to the room and left them alone. Marina looked at her husband with tear-filled eyes. She already knew everything. "Hi, Marishka," Slava began and stammered. He really didn't understand what was appropriate to say and ask now and what wasn't. "Hi," Marina said very quietly and turned away. He drove over to the bed and took his spouse's hand. "Hey, what are you doing? We're together. We will definitely cope," tried to cheer up the spouse, but he himself did not really believe in his words. "Do you really think you can cope with it?" Marina asked the question and looked at her husband with a testing look. "Of course," replied Slava almost confidently. "You know, once long ago heard such an expression, if a person wants to live, medicine is powerless. You want to live. You're not going to leave me." Marina smiled sadly and turned away again. "You know," she said somewhere in the ceiling, "it would be right if you divorce me. I don't want to torture you. I don't want you to see how bad I feel. I don't want anything at all. Marishka, you're talking outright nonsense. I'm not going to break up with you. It's out of the question, that's one. Second, we have enough money to make your life comfortable, even if you—" He hesitated, not knowing how informed Marina was about his condition and immediate prospects. "Well, if you suddenly have to be in a wheelchair for a while." "For a while?" Marina suddenly started to get angry. "For a while. Yes, I'm gonna be in this wheelchair for the rest of my life. And don't pretend you didn't tell yourself that. You know damn well I hate being pitied." I don't need your pity or your sympathy. I need your love. But you can't fully love a colleague, and don't try to convince me otherwise. Slava even took offense. So you're saying that if I were in your place, you would leave me and divorce me? Marina turned around and looked at her husband absent-mindedly. Of course not. Then why do you think I'm such an asshole? She thought for a moment. Because it's different with men. It was the only thing Marina could come up with. Who's the one who told you such nonsense? So men can't truly love, can't woo and care. All men are traitors. Vyacheslav was angry. That's not what I wanted to say. It's just that men have certain needs, and they rarely stay faithful to one woman for long periods of time. Okay, let's not have you speak for all men. Yes, it's understandable that it won't be like it used to be. So what? We'll try something different. And the child? What about the baby? There is surrogacy. You can adopt. The issue is also solvable. So you're ready to be with me further, despite my problems? Tears flowed from Marina's eyes. Of course, silly, I do not understand how you could think that I would betray you. And remember, together we will succeed. A week later, Marina had her first surgery. The results were not as the doctors had planned. It was decided to do a second one in 2 weeks, then another one. During the year, Marina underwent 6 operations. The result was that the sensitivity of her legs returned. She could even move a little and could not move, but there was no full recovery, and no prognosis for it either. During the last examination at the neurosurgeon, Marina was found a tumor on her spine, and this was the last straw for her. I don't want any more surgeries. I've been living in hospitals for over a year. I'm sick of it. I want to go home. But you need to be examined and find out what kind of tumor it is, the doctor objected. Do you hear me? I don't want anything else. I want to go home. Apparently, the higher powers have decided it's time for me to go there, so I have one problem after another. That's the way it has to be. That's it. The conversation is over, summarized Marina. She dialed Slava. Slava, take me home today, please. Home. Have you finished the examination? Yes. I want to go home. Sure. I'll be at your place in an hour. During the time Marina was in the hospital, Slava built a house and equipped it so that Marina was as comfortable as possible to be in it. Marina knew nothing about it. It was a surprise. Therefore, when Slava picked up his wife and took her in a different direction, she was very surprised. Honey, and where are we going? Home, of course. Is it just me, or are you going the wrong way? Marishka, do you even have a little patience? Slava smiled. How come? Never had any. You know that. Smiled Marina in return. During this year she had calmed down a little and got used to her new position. She had almost become the same old Marina, except that she couldn't walk. Sometimes she moved with the help of a walker, but only a little. Her legs got tired very quickly. They arrived at the gate, which started to open automatically. Marina looked at her husband in surprise, but said nothing. The car drove into the yard. The house was large, with a lawn and a small garden, a swimming pool in the distance, and a gazebo nearby. The house itself was 1 story, but big. Slava helped his wife out of the car, put her in a stroller and took her on a tour of their new joint residence. Look, here we have a big living room. Here is the kitchen. There is a toilet, and next to the bathroom, Slava told her, this is our bedroom, next to the guest bedroom. And what's that door? Marina pointed to the side. That's your study. I thought you might want to continue your writing. You'll be comfortable in it. The study was indeed set up for Marina. She smiled. You're so good. Thank you so much. Yes, I definitely want to work. They left the office. What's in there? There's a maid's room. Slava noticed Marina's disgruntled look. Wait, don't get angry and nervous. It will be an au pair. You'll work, right? Yes. When do you have time to take care of the house? And like any working person, you'll be tired, so I thought we'd have an au pair. I don't see what the big deal is. Okay, but can I pick her myself? In principle, you can, but I've already found a woman. Can you talk to her first? Okay, Marina grudgingly agreed. How old is she? 52, Slava laughed. Are you jealous? You know, God takes care of him who is careful. I don't need any hifs here, Marina futzed. Marina did not know that Slava chose not just an au pair. He found a woman with a medical degree who has experience in caring for the disabled and strictly forbade Kira as the assistant's name was, to mention that she was a medical professional. Slava drove to the office, Marina worked at home, Kira took on all the household chores. Marina liked Kira. The woman was simple, kind and very pleasant in communication. Sometimes they could spend hours just chatting in the living room with a cup of tea. Marina told Kira her life, starting from the time she had been in the orphanage. But you remembered your mother, didn't you? You never wanted to find her and find out why she did what she did. Kira asked. I wanted to. I really wanted to. And then I abruptly changed my mind. Why? What am I going to tell her? That I've hated her all my life. That she's a traitor and you can't do that to children. What's the point? My life isn't going to roll back and change. Well, that's right. I see your point. I probably wouldn't want her in your shoes either. Let the deed be on her conscience. You know, Marinoshka, I'm not a very religious person, but somehow I believe that there is something there, a higher court or something like that. And everyone will get what they deserve. I will. Day after day passed in this way. 6 months passed after Marina returned to her new home. One morning she woke up and felt very ill. Marina called Kira. Shall we call a doctor? Kira suggested. What's the point of that? They've already done everything they can. Marinoshka, I'm sorry, but you should have had your tumor examined. Maybe it's benign and could have just been removed. Kira, I'm tired of these surgeries, procedures, rehab. I want to live at home for however long I have left. I understand you, Kira said softly, who more than once in her eyes saw doomed people in my life. After a week, Marina's arms began to fail and her legs finally stopped obeying. Marina fell into despondency. She spent the whole day in her room, refused to eat, and stopped working altogether. Slava could not look at the torment of his wife and more often began to delay at work. He explained it with a blockage in business, but Marina was not stupid and perfectly understood the real reason. Kira looked at the young mistress with pain. She understood that you need to fight, but saw that Marina dropped his hands and does not even try to do something. Any attempts to talk to Marina or just to socialize did not lead to anything. One day Kira was coming back from the store with her shopping. She took a cab to the house and saw a man in his 60s near the gate. He was trying to look over the fence. Kira was wary. This is an elite village, and strangers do not walk here. So she looked at the man sternly and asked, What do you want? Excuse me, do you live here? I work here. Who do you want? I'm looking for Marina Solomatina. She lives here. Kira was surprised. She knew that was the landlady's maiden name. Marina Igorova, maiden name Solomatina, lives here. Why do you want her? Excuse me, have you been working for them long? We can talk. It won't take a minute. I have no bad intentions. Kira looked the man over from head to toe. He was intelligent looking and looked the least like a Praduka. Intuitively, Kira decided that he could be trusted. At least, she could listen to him. All right, let's go inside. The mistress is resting anyway and won't come out. Marina is sick. And you did not know about it, no. All right, we'll talk inside. They went into the kitchen. The man waited patiently while Kira laid out the groceries and remained silent. Would you like some coffee? Yeah, I'd love some. Kira made them coffee and sat down opposite the man. So what is so important and urgent you want to tell me? What's your name, by the way? My name is Viktor Stepanovich. Nice to meet you. And I'm Kira. So what do you want, Viktor Stepanovich? Why do you need our Marinoshka? She doesn't have time for guests now, frankly speaking. I'm Marina's father, the guest said honestly and directly. Kira nearly dropped her coffee cup from her hands. Father. And where were you, father, when your daughter was in the orphanage, when she was suffering so much, when she needed a family member? Where? Wait, don't attack me. I learned of her existence 2 months ago. How's that? I'll tell you everything if you have the patience. And then you can decide if it's my fault or not. Okay, just keep your voice down, please. I dated Marina's mom years ago. I loved her very much, but she chose someone else. I didn't have the money she wanted, so she turned me down. I, of course, was very upset and worried, and then I decided to leave town to forget her as soon as possible. It so happened that I ended up abroad. I earned money, returned to the country, but not to my hometown, but to Moscow. I got a job in one of the clinics. I did not say. I am a doctor rehabilitologist. I have a lot of experience, especially European experience. So I was hired without any questions. But 2 months ago, my sister, who had stayed in her hometown, called me and told me that Irina Solomatina, Marina's mother, was looking for me. I was very surprised because we had not talked to her once since the day she had met me chased her away. But my sister said she tearfully asked me to get in touch with her. I took a vacation and went. He suddenly changed his face and looked toward the window, hiding the tears in his eyes. Then he continued. She had cancer. She was dying and wanted to tell me about her daughter. I was shocked, to be honest. But when she told me what she had done to her, I was ready to kill her. I asked her, "Why didn't you find me and give me the baby if you didn't want it?" And what she said, Tira asked her question. She felt very sorry for the man. She could see that he was genuinely worried about his daughter. She said that she had not even thought about it, but as she was dying, she decided to repent to me. She told me to which orphanage, in what year she took Marina, said that she had the same surname as Irina, and gave her patronymic as mine, and thank you for that, and advised me to find her to tell her that she regrets her deed and apologizes for the broken life. He took another pause. Though I honestly don't know how something like that can be forgiven. Yeah, it's a sad story, Kira agreed with him. What are you going to do now? Will you tell Marina the truth? Of course, that's why I sought her out. My guilt to my daughter is gone. I knew nothing of her existence. I thought she was an adult and would understand it. Do you think she would be happy to see me? I don't know, to be honest. She doesn't want to see anyone at all right now. You haven't told me what's wrong with her. Kira told Viktor Stepanovich everything she knew about what had happened. Viktor Stepanovich changed his face a couple of times, resented the doctor's actions, asked questions. When Kira finished her story, he sighed heavily and asked, "Can I see her?" Viktor Stepanovich, I think Marinoshka needs to be prepared somehow. At that moment a call came from Marina's room. Kira rushed into the room. Marinoshka, what? Kira shouted fearfully. Kira, call a doctor. I don't feel well at all. And then Kira decided to take advantage of the situation. You know, I broke our arrangement. I'm sorry. My brother is visiting me and he's a rehabilitation doctor. Can I call him first? I don't care. Call him. Kira ran out and called Viktor Stepanovich, warning him to address her by her first name. And you? Why? Marina's father didn't understand. Look, let's have all the questions later. Do you want to help your daughter or not? Of course I do. Then do what I tell you. Viktor Stepanovich entered Marina's room. This was not how he had imagined his meeting with her. But now the situation was such that there was no choice. He went to the bed and looked at his only child, who was actually dying. Her father's heart clenched with pain, but now he had to pull himself together and try to do something to help her. Tell me, where do you hurt? Everywhere. He began to examine Marina. From her reaction, he could clearly identify the trouble spots. How long have you been like this? I've been like this for about 2 weeks. I see. Can you move your arms? I can. Do it, please. Marina moved her arms. Can you lift them? I'll try. Marina lifted her arms up, but immediately dropped them helplessly to the bed. Your hands go numb, so you can't hold them up. Yes. What about your legs? You can't hold them up. You don't feel it at all. It was like that right after the accident. Kira tensed up, in case Marina noticed it, and asked how he knew. Kira decided to come to her brother's rescue. Marinoshka, I'm the one who told Vita about the accident. I'm sorry. That's okay, Kira. It's a little secret. And already turning to her father, she replied, At first I couldn't feel. Then after several surgeries, I even tried to walk with a walker. And then I was diagnosed with a tumor in my lumbar region. And my legs stopped working every day. Now I practically can't control them anymore. Viktor Stepanovich looked at Tira in surprise, then at his daughter and asked, So you were able to walk after the surgery? Did I get it right? Yes, that's right, with difficulty, slowly. But I could. May I examine your back? Yes, of course. Tira helped her mistress turn on her side, but Viktor Stepanovich asked her to lie on her stomach. He examined his daughter's back for about 20 minutes, pressing somewhere, checking sensitivity. He examined the tumor on her lower back and suddenly gave out. I can help you. You'll walk if you trust me and have patience. Kira almost fell over in surprise. Marina turned sharply on her side. You see, You can do it yourself without Kira's help. Listen to me very carefully. You need a good course of chiropractic massage, special exercises, some medication and a carload of patience. And I promise you, you'll walk. Excuse me, what's your name? Victor Stepanovich, he answered calmly, not sensing a catch. And I thought Santa Claus, said Marina with an obvious twist. The doctors have made it clear to me that I have no chance of walking. And there's practically no chance of survival either. Why do you mock me and give me false hope? I don't understand. I'm not mocking you in any way. I'm responsible for what I say. You can read reviews about me on the website of the Moscow clinic where I work. He said the name of the clinic. Marina looked at this strange man in surprise and decided whether to believe him or not. In order not to be unsubstantiated, I will now do something, and you will see what will happen. Will you trust me? Go ahead, Marina said defiantly. Victor Stepanovich leaned over and pressed something under Marina's knee. She jerked her leg and laughed. That tickles. And suddenly she caught herself thinking that she hadn't felt ticklish in a long time, even though the doctors had tickled her repeatedly. How did you do that? Never mind, now you believe me at least a little, Father smiled. A little, Marina smiled back. She liked this man. There was some incredible warmth coming from him, even from his hands. Kira and Victor Stepanovich left the room. You told her the truth, Kira clarified. And you think I could lie to my own daughter? I don't know. This is the first time I've seen you. I understand you. I'm mistrustful too, Victor Stepanovich smiled. I'll be there by 9 tomorrow. Warn Marina, please. I need to buy some drugs and something for the massage. Yes. Okay. We'll be waiting for you tomorrow. Kira looked at Victor Stepanovich gratefully. And thank you for giving her hope. It's very important. Come on. She's my daughter and I'll do everything in my power to help her get back to normal. It's my duty. He left and Kira went back to Marina's room. Do you think, Kirashka, that he will be able to help me? I want to believe him for some reason. Marinoshka, I think if you believe it yourself and help Victor coherently, the two of you will definitely succeed. I'll try my best. I have hope. But let's not tell Slava anything yet, okay? I don't want him to find out before it's too late. Of course, as you say. The next day Victor Stepanovich, as promised, arrived at 9 o'clock. Having coffee with Marina, they started with a massage, then a very small set of exercises. Despite Marina's desire to make quick progress, Victor Stepanovich strictly forbade her to do anything on her own, without his knowledge. Marinoshka, remember, we need results, not speed. You are not ready for serious loads. And you won't be ready soon. You need to do everything gradually and correctly, otherwise you may get the opposite effect. And I don't want that. No, of course not, Marina agreed. Then do exactly what I tell you to do, and to exactly this extent. Promise not to do it on your own. I promise, Marina smiled. It's not like I'm my own enemy. Fine, then, I have a question. Can we study with you weekends? Only on Saturday. My husband is home on Sunday, it's his only day off, and I don't want to tell him about you yet. Good. Then here's what we'll do. On Sunday, you will study under Kira. I'll give her the lesson plan and ask her to supervise. I think you'll be able to keep your husband occupied for an hour. Yes, of course. He likes to sleep in at lunchtime. He's very tired and often sleep deprived, and on Sunday he gets a full week's sleep. Great. That's what they did. 6 days a week massage and training with Victor Stepanovich, and on Sunday exercises under Kira's supervision. The results were not yet, but it had only been 2 weeks, although Marina felt that the strength in the arms and legs little by little appears, and the mood improved. But she was frustrated by the relationship with Slava. He was increasingly late at work, and today even stayed there overnight. Marina cried half the night. She and Slava understood, of course, but also felt sorry for herself. It turned out that his promise to be around is untenable. Her husband was not long enough, and it was very frustrating. Maybe he has someone else. Crept into Marina's head, and from this she was even more upset. The next day, when Victor Stepanovich came, Marina was completely out of spirits, and therefore without the mood to engage. Father immediately sensed the mood of his daughter and quietly asked, "Do you have something hurts?" "In the heart," Marina said softly. The father took this literally and asked fearfully, "Where exactly does it hurt? Have you had heart problems before?" "No." It doesn't, and that's not why it hurts. I think my husband has taken a mistress. Although I understand him, of course. Unexpectedly for herself, honestly confessed Marina. The surprise was that Marina never trusted anyone and did not tell anything about her life, and certainly not about her relationship with her husband. What nonsense. What makes you think that? He didn't come home tonight. It's never happened before. Marinoshka, that doesn't prove that he has a mistress. He's just tired. You have to understand, it's not just hard for you, it's hard for him. And that's normal. Don't judge him and don't get angry. I think things will get better with time. Are you just reassuring me, or do you really think so? I'm pretty sure I am. Do you have a wife? Marina suddenly asked. No. And children? Yes, a daughter, but I only recently found out about her. And I'm tormented by it too, because I'm just afraid to admit to her that I'm her father. Why? Did you abandon her once? No, you didn't. I would never abandon my child. It's just that her mother didn't tell me she was pregnant and broke off the relationship with me, and I left town to forget her. And then I found out years later that it turns out I have a grown daughter. So tell her that. Do you know where she lives? Yes, but I'm afraid. I think you should be. Do you think so? I'm sure I do. I didn't know my father. I don't even know who he was. But if he knocked on my door right now and said, Marina, hello, I'm your dad, I'd be jumping to the ceiling. I hear you. He got up from his chair and headed towards the door. Just a minute. Viktor Stepanovich walked out the door. His heart was pounding madly in his temples. I think my blood pressure is now 200/150, he thought, but decided firmly, we must act. This is such a chance. And knocked confidently on the door. Yes, he heard his daughter's voice. Viktor Stepanovich opened the door, entered the room and said, Marina, hello, I'm your daddy. Marina went numb looking at him. They looked at each other in silence. Everyone at that moment was thinking about his own, and no one dared to break the silence. Viktor Stepanovich waited for at least some reaction from his daughter, and Marina could not believe what she heard. You're my daddy. Tears flowed from her eyes. And how can that be? Viktor Stepanovich walked over to the bed, pulled up a chair and sat down next to it to retell the story of his life. When he finished the story, Marina simply said, May I give you a hug? Of course. I'd been wanting to do that for a long time. You don't know how glad I am that you were found. I wanted to find my mother, but then I changed my mind. But that I had such a wonderful father, I couldn't even dream. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening and accepting me. I was worried about how you would react. I don't forgive betrayal, and you didn't betray me. You didn't know about me. They talked for a long time. Each told about his life before this meeting. Marina proudly listened to her father's story about his successes and merits. Father, with tears in his eyes, listened to the stories of his daughter's life. They had a lot to talk about, and no one interfered with them. This day they missed classes for a good reason. The father said that they would make up for everything. Only the massage could not be tolerated, so they should lie down and be patient. Marina even more obediently and diligently followed her father's recommendations. Now she had no doubt that she would recover, because she is treated by the best doctor, who is more interested in her recovery than all the doctors put together. The classes went on much longer. Father and daughter could not talk enough. They even called each other in the evenings and talked on the phone or Skype for a long time. Marina promised to tell everything to her husband later, so that the father moved into their house. It would be more convenient and easier for everyone. But so far Marina did not know how to tell Slava about this wonderful meeting. When he came home, Marina was already asleep. All these classes were exhausting, and at 10 p.m., she usually fell asleep. Her father said it was very good, because sleep was the best medicine for her body. It had been like that for almost a month. Today Slava stayed late at work again. He didn't want to go home at all. He even stopped a few times on the way and just stared at nothing, stalling for time. He knew that for the last few weeks his wife had been falling asleep early. Apparently, she was not feeling well at all. Her strength was running out, since she was sleeping so much, he thought, not knowing the real reason. Slava arrived at the house around 11 o'clock. The lights were on only in the living room, so everyone was asleep. Kira tried to go to bed right after Marina so she could get up early to do her chores. He entered the living room and heard Marina talking to someone. Very strange. Why is she awake? And who can be our guest so late? Slava wondered. He moved closer to the door and listened. I'm very grateful to you, Marina was saying to someone. I don't know how I would have coped without you. You came into my life at such a good time. Stop thanking me. I love you and I'm doing everything I can to make you feel good, a male voice replied in Skype. They're talking on video, Slava guessed. You're coming tomorrow at what time? The usual. Marina asked. No, darling, tomorrow I need to buy something else for you, and then I'll come. Maybe I'll be there by 10 or 11:30. I'll call you or Kira when I get there. Now get some rest, it's getting late. Good night, I hug you. I love you, good night, said Marina calmly. And Slava got a frost on his skin from these words. And I love you, see you tomorrow, replied a man's voice. Slava was furious. So his wife met in the hospital, most likely with some man, and is now having an affair behind his back. How can she fake being sick to avoid sleeping with her husband? And even Kira knows. He's the only gullible idiot. He walked over to the bar in the living room and poured himself some wine. Slava drank very rarely, exclusively light drinks, so a couple glasses of wine were more than enough for him to relax. Thoughts were confused in his head. He sincerely did not understand how it could be that his Marishka cheated on him, and even in such a state. He poured a second glass, drank it in a gulp and went to the bedroom to his wife. Marina was sound asleep. Wake her up or not, he thought. Slava looked at his wife more carefully, not realizing what was wrong. Something was wrong. Something confused Slava in the position of Marina's body, and suddenly it hit him. Marina's right hand was above her head on the pillow. But that can't be. She can't lift her arms up. They're failing. So she lied to me after all. So it's a prank or a brazen lie. He was angry. He was very angry. And he couldn't think of anything better to do, so he decided not to go to work tomorrow. Or rather, to pretend that he went, and then return home after 10 unexpectedly. I wonder what she will tell me when I catch them with a povyoknomu. Gloated Flavor. In the morning, as usual, he left for work in the fall, warned Kira that it would be late tonight, and dinner could be left out. Kira nodded and went to the kitchen. Slava looked angrily at the nurse, but she already knows everything. She's probably laughing at me. Vyacheslav twisted himself, and even more angry. Marina woke up at 9. She had a light breakfast with Kira and waited for Viktor Stepanovich. Kira was somehow mysterious today. Kirashka, are you all right? Marina asked. Yes, everything is fine. Why do you ask? Kira blushed slightly. I don't know. You're not your usual self today. It's just your imagination, said Kira first, and then she sat down on a chair and made an unexpected confession. Marinoshka, I really like your father. When I see him, I'm terribly shy and nervous. So it's great. What's wrong with that? Rejoiced Marina. And what if he has someone else? I don't want to interfere with Shizo and family. I'll find out, Marina winked, smiling. Thank you very much. Just don't give me away. Skira equivocated. Come on. How could you? Female solidarity. Marina smiled again. She was in a good mood. The result of the lessons with her father was visible. Marina could already stand on her feet and even take a few steps with the help of a walker. Yes. Running was still far away and unlikely to be possible, but at least something, and her hands were almost no longer numb. Viktor Stepanovich called. Marishka, hi. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Hi. We're waiting for you, Marina blurted out. She looked at Kira. There was no face on her and smiled. You. Who? The father wondered. Well, me and my limbs, Marina blurted out. Oh, good. Her father walked into the living room, said hello to Kira, and after kissing Marina, took her into her room to study. Kira was making dinner and didn't even hear Vyacheslav come in. Kira, is Marina in the room? She heard her master's voice and dropped the plate on the floor in surprise. It shattered to pieces. Vyacheslav, why are you here? Kira asked the first thing that came to mind. Can't I come home in the afternoon? Slava wondered. Are you hiding something from me? No, I was just asking. Kira was neither alive nor dead. She didn't know what to do. How to warn the landlady. She saw that Vyacheslav was very angry and would not sort out who was there and what. And Viktor Stepanovich is just giving Marina a massage. And there's no telling what the jealous husband will see there. What a nightmare. We must warn them somehow, thought Kira. Maybe you want coffee. Are you kidding? Do you think I came home so you could make me coffee? I asked where my wife was. Is she in her room, or did she run off on a date already? Oh, what are you talking about? What date? Marinoshka is home, but you've got it all wrong, apparently. Actually in the back, Vyacheslav, Kira said. She was following him, so that she could at least help in case of anything. But Vyacheslav couldn't hear anything anymore. Anger and even rage swept over him. He had been used to protecting his own, including his Marina, since childhood. He tore the doorknob and saw a picture that made him feel bad. Slava grabbed his rival by the shoulder, sharply pulled him to himself and hit him in the face with his fist. Viktor Stepanovich was obviously not ready for this and fell from the blow on the bed. Slava wanted to pick him up and hit him again, but Marina jumped up from the bed and, covered with a blanket, stiffened. Don't touch him. That's my father. Slava felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on his head. Who's that? It's my father, Marina repeated. What are you doing? How's your father? What father? Where did he come from? Asked question after question Vyacheslav. If you calm down, I'll explain everything to you now. And only now Slava noticed that Marina herself is standing on the floor. You walk. Just a little bit. If you don't hurt my father, I'll walk more. I don't understand anything, Slava said barely audibly, realizing he had done something stupid. Dad, Kira, have some coffee. We need to talk, Marina said. She leaned over to her father. Are you all right? Fine. My teeth seem to be in place. Viktor Stepanovich smiled. You didn't tell me your spouse was so jealous. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't think it could happen. Viktor Stepanovich and Kira left the room. Marina sat down on the edge of the bed and gestured for her husband to sit next to her. She recounted to him the story of meeting her father from the first time he had appeared in the house, that he was a doctor and that he was helping Marina recover. Why didn't you tell me about it right away? Slava wondered. I wanted to surprise you, first of all. And secondly, I didn't know exactly what kind of result Dad and I would get. I didn't want to give false hope. What if I'd beaten him harder? Did you think about that? How was I supposed to know you had something in your head? And how did you find out about it in the first place? Last night, when I came in, I heard you confessing your love to someone. Slava lowered his head. And what was I supposed to think? And you immediately thought I had a lover. In my condition you're serious, and you and I once agreed not to lie to each other or hide anything. She thought for a moment. I'm certainly wrong to keep this news from you two, but I couldn't possibly think you'd think I was cheating on you. It doesn't matter what I thought. What matters is that I was wrong. Please forgive me, Glory said guiltily. I'm an idiot, but I have an excuse. I'm an idiot in love. You will forgive me, won't you? Of course, only you have to apologize to Daddy too. Naturally. What's your father's name? Viktor Stepanovich. Okay, let's go apologize. Well, let's go. That's a big word for it. Bye. Let's go. Smiled Marina. She got into the stroller and Slava took his spouse to the living room. Viktor Stepanovich and Kira were sitting on the sofa and drinking coffee. At the sight of the owners, Kira immediately jumped up. Sit, it's all right, Vyacheslav said and turned to his father-in-law. Viktor Stepanovich, forgive me, for God's sake. I didn't want our acquaintance to take place like this, but I knew nothing about you and could not even imagine that you could be Marina's father. Come on, it's all right. It will heal before the wedding. My father-in-law smiled. Before the wedding. Marina was surprised. Until whose wedding? Before mine, of course. You are not going to divorce because of me, I hope. Viktor Stepanovich smiled. I have never been married, by the way. How interesting. Marina smiled enigmatically. But you will invite us, I hope? Of course, if you promise to fight me, said the father, and everybody laughed. Will you invite me? Kira asked softly and quietly. I will invite you to. Viktor Stepanovich smiled and changed the topic of conversation. Marina, we need to continue the massage. We haven't worked with you yet today. Yes, Daddy, of course. I'll see Slava off and go back to the room. You finish your coffee. Slava left for work, and Marina and her father went back to class. After all the procedures, Viktor Stepanovich left. Marina decided to talk to her husband in the evening about having her father stay at their house. She arrived at the kitchen, from where it smelled very good. Kirashka, what are you cooking that is so magical? I'm just drooling. But Kira stood with her back to her hostess and, without turning around, replied, "Your favorite meat is baked." Marina heard Kira's voice trembling. "Kira, turn to me, please," she asked. "I'm sorry, I can't. Don't make me go all the way across the kitchen to you." Kira turned around and Marina saw that she was crying. "What are you doing? What's wrong? Don't you realize? Your father is getting married and for a moment I thought he liked me too. Okay, I think your tears are premature. There's no need to get upset prematurely. When do I get upset? When he brings me an invitation. Kirishka, everything will be fine. I somehow think that he was just joking about the wedding." Marina tried to calm Kira. "And it didn't seem that way to me." "Well, feed me, or I'll soon start to chew the table." Marina diverted the conversation to the side. She persuaded Kira to keep her company at lunch. "Look, it's such a nice day. Today, let's have a glass of wine," Marina suggested. "Oh, I don't drink at work." Kira immediately refused. "Kirishka, well, what work? You live with us, you help us. You don't even have days off. Sometimes you can relax. We'll have a glass. I don't want too much." "Okay, a little." She poured the wine and sat down next to Marina. At that moment the doorbell rang. Who could that be? Kira wondered. "Look, please. I'm not expecting anyone." Kira went to open it. On the threshold stood Viktor Stepanovich with a huge bouquet of roses. "Dear Kirishka, I ask you very much to become my wife." He handed her the flowers and a small box with a ring. Kira took the box and asked, "Is this for me?" Tears ran down her cheeks. The ring was very beautiful. Kira took it out of the box and put it on her finger. "Does that mean you accept?" "Sure. I just have one favor to ask of you." "May I?" Viktor Stepanovich asked hesitantly. "Of course. Let's play the wedding when Marina can walk. It's a couple of months literally." "Oh, it's no problem at all." "Sure, we'll wait." At once agreed Kira. "Hey, future newlyweds, maybe you can stop yelling at each other." Marina laughed. "Oh, that's right, Kirishka, let's switch to you." Shyly, like a teenager, suggested father. "Yes, let's." "So, I realized, you 2 more hours you'll be nice. Who's got the wine? So you did this on purpose, huh?" Kira turned to Marina. "You all knew." "Of course, it's my father," Marina smiled. "Okay, you to celebrate, and I'm going to rest in my room for a while. Also, Kira, stop yelling at me, you're going to be my mother now. Then don't yell at me either," offered in response Kira. "I'll try, but I will be difficult," honestly admitted Marina and went to his room. In 2 months Marina already walked independently around the house. Not quickly, but without a walker, but only with a stick. Viktor Stepanovich moved into the house one evening. The men were sitting in the gazebo and talking. At that time Slava was worried about one question. How did it happen that the doctors put their hands down and Viktor Stepanovich brought her back to life? "You see, Slava, the doctors decided that Marina had a tumor on her spine. But it wasn't a tumor, it was an intervertebral hernia. If it's not neglected, it can be removed with manual therapy. If it's advanced, surgery. It's a simple medical error. Marinotka's musculoskeletal system is so bunched up. They came to this conclusion. It happens. What would we do without you?" Slava said. "If it weren't for you." Okay, stop thanking me. I did what I had to do. It's my daughter I'm very guilty of. Even though it's not my fault, the important thing is that we're not in tandem. It worked out. I thought it would take more time, but Marinka did well, managed much faster. Slava, I have a proposal for you. I realize it needs to be discussed with our women, but I wanted to talk to you first. Intrigued? What's up? Vyacheslav was interested. Yeah, no, nothing happened. I just wanted to suggest building a bigger house. I'll sell my apartment in Moscow. It's more than enough to expand. Marina can't do without Kira's help anyway, and I'll be on the safety net nearby. And we don't have enough room in this house. I don't mind, just let's ask the women. The men returned to the house. Kira and Marina sat on the sofa in the living room and emotionally discussed something. It turned out that they were talking about the upcoming event, her wedding. Kira did not want anything grandiose, and Marina persuaded her to give in. "Kirishka, I really want you to have a mega-class event. My dad got me on my feet. You're my indispensable person. Is there anything I can do for you in return?" "Uacha," Slava said indignantly. "Why is it just you? I'm in on it too." "Kirishka, Viktor Stepanovich intervened. I think it's better to give in. Marina won't back down anyway. All right, Kira agreed. It's a deal. And there's something we wanted to discuss with you too, my father began. And we can't do it without you? Let's solve our problem now, Marina said cheerfully. She's changed a lot lately. Not just revitalized, she's glowing from the inside out. Your dad has offered to build one big house for all of us. A room each, a couple of guest bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, your office. What do you think? Marina looked at her husband and father with feigned resentment. Is something wrong? Tensed Slava. It seemed to him that his wife did not like the idea. Not so, Marina replied. When did you want to start building? Slava answered immediately, if there were no objections. All right, build it. And in 8 months you will rebuild again, Marina said calmly and winked at Kira, who already knew everything. I do not understand. Why rebuild again? Sincerely surprised Vyacheslav. Well, why? Because among the rooms you listed there is no nursery, smiled Marina. Slava, not understanding, looked at his wife, and then at the test and shrugged his shoulders. Do you understand anything, Viktor Stepanovich? I think I do. In 8 months I will become a grandfather, and you will become a father, joyfully shouted father-in-law. Slava had tears in his eyes. Marishka, is it true? Is it for sure? There can't be a mistake. That's right. I went to the doctor yesterday, Marina smiled. Slava ran up and hugged his wife. So this is super news. You're so good for you? Oh wait, and you can give birth yourself. Vyacheslav was frightened. I think we'll have to do a caesarean, but it's not a problem at all, Viktor Stepanovich intervened. Slava was in shock and could not believe what was happening. Even 6 months ago it seemed to him that the happy family life was over and there would never be anything good again. But with the appearance of his father-in-law in their house everything changed abruptly, so abruptly that he did not have time to perceive the information. A week later Viktor Stepanovich and Kira got married. The wedding was held in the same restaurant where Slava and Marina. All the costs of organizing the event Slava and Marina took on themselves, and as a wedding gift presented the newlyweds with a trip. Kira, who had never been anywhere in her life, almost fell off her chair. Why? It must be so expensive. You've already organized everything for us. Paid for it yourself. It's embarrassing, isn't it? Rest, rest, rest. You still have a grandson or granddaughter to nurse, Slava laughed. While the newlyweds were away, Marina and Slava developed a project for their new large house, but did not start construction without the approval of Viktor Stepanovich and Kira. Upon their return, the project was approved and started. The construction of the house was finished just in time for the birth of the child, but they decided to move into the new house when the event happened. In due time Marina gave birth to a daughter. They named her Nadezhda because it was Nadezhda who helped them to endure and survive everything that happened to them.